Should we get into UFC Paris this weekend?
Yeah, I'm excited
And
about
then
it.
do some of the news on that. It's a good fight card.
It is.
Great insight.
Well, I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Oh.
No, it's a fucking fantastic fight card. I really like the Gane Tuivasa fight. I just don't. Tai Tuivasa is going to have to show up with something different than he typically shows up with, for sure. At least in my opinion.
Hold on. You are aware that he's on a 5-fight win streak, and they're all five knockouts in a row.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Last one was Derek Lewis.
Yeah, but Derek Lewis is not Cyril Gane at all.
Correct.
So I'm pulling up the fight card right now.
And look what Cyril Gane did to Derek Lewis as well. And
that's where I was going with that. Like,
yeah,
those guys are fantastic strikers for guys that
they're sluggers.
Yeah, like Cyril Gane is those guys are predictable, and those guys, they have to come forward. There's no wrestling threat. There's no jiu-jitsu threat. They have to swing big and wide. Tai Tuivasa, as much as I love him and I love watching him fight, I love his fucking personality. I love it. I love everything. He's not going to be throwing. He's not going to be setting up shit with the jab and slipping and coming with uppercut hook and then going back to a straight jab. It's just he can't. Like the physicality, the mobility, the movement, the conditioning, the angles. And Cyril Gane, I mean, a lot of people forget when he was fucking face to face with Francis Ngannou, right when the referee brought those two guys together, they're the same goddamn size. Like he even looked a tad larger than Francis, like in his chest and upper body. I just Ty's got to he's got to try to figure out a way to get to him, and no one has figured out how to get to him yet.
No, I totally agree with your assessment. And I was saying a similar thing the other day. For Tai, I mean, listen, Cyril Gane's incredible and he is big. And that's a good point what you said about Francis. I think people do forget that because we all freak out about Francis and his size and his power and all the rest of it. But Cyril Gane's right bloody up there. But then you combine with almost ballet-like movement. Yeah. Same size pretty much.
He's big.
He's so light on his feet and he's so athletic and he's like poetry in motion. He's so like composed and skillful on his feet, and the way he moves in and out, it does what it causes everyone a lot of problems. That's why Francis Ngannou turned into a wrestler. And I don't think anyone saw that coming. I think for Tai, of course, if he's going to get a victory, he needs to turn it into a brawl. He needs to try and back him up against the fence, but he's going to struggle to do that because Cyril is really composed. He does have a great jab. He does have long front kicks, and he's going to try and keep him at bay. But I think if Francis, I mean, don't get me wrong, Ngannou's a bloody tank of a human being and incredibly strong, and he's getting better all the time. But if Francis Ngannou can take him down and hold him down essentially and win like that, that sends a message to the rest of the heavyweight division. If you're fighting this guy, you want to wrestle him. The problem is Tai Tuivasa isn't really a wrestler,
Right. He does do well in the clinch, though.
But what?
He does do well in the clinch, like up against the fence. He can grind. He does a good job grinding. I'll give him that.
Yeah. He's not the best grappler, though, to be fair. Sergey Spivak, kind of highlighted that. But we're all a work in progress. You know that. We're always getting better. It's always an evolution. But it wouldn't surprise me if Tai Tuivasa is going to be looking for some takedowns. Cyril Gane's a French kickboxer. Very good. He was 13-0 as a Thai boxer, switched to MMA, signed with the UFC after 3 goddamn fights. I think he's 10-1 now. Only lost to Francis Ngannou. No shame. Went to a decision. That in itself, going to a decision with Francis. Not many people do that. 5 rounds. 5 rounds with Francis Ngannou. All it takes is one shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he went the distance.
Well, one thing that I've always kind of keyed in on Cyril Gane, and it's no way to approach a fight, at least in my opinion, or something to game plan for. But Cyril Gane is so in and out with his darts, like he's always kind of hopping in with those front leg side kicks, like to the leg and to the body. And, he kind of dives in sometimes. Someday he's going to get caught. He's going to get caught on his way in or on his way out. I don't know who that guy's going to be that's going to catch him. But it's going to have to be a guy that's like a Derek Lewis or a Tai Tuivasa, like someone who's a little more compact and explodes at the exact moment that he comes in and just, he kind of like Dominic, kind of like dip, he's diving in and his head is kind of off to one side a little bit. Like he defensively he's very, very good, but a lot of it's based on reaction time and his ability to see the shot. He's not a hands up kind of slip and rip, boxer. So
No.
I think someday he is going to get caught just because of it's kind of the odds. You know what I mean? You do it so many times, eventually you're going to get caught. And I think he'll get caught eventually. I just don't know if it'll be this upcoming weekend.
It's a tremendous fight, though, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tai Tuivasa is so much fun. I mean, what a guy! He's awesome. I love everything about him. I love his energy. When you meet him, when you talk to him, he's so laid back and friendly and chill. But he's a fucking maniac. He's a monster inside the octagon. Listen, may the best man win, and I'm commentating, so I can't make a prediction, but there's a little part of me that wants to see Tai Tuivasa on top of a cage doing a shoey in Paris. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, me too.
They're so sophisticated and proper, and they like the red wine. Do you know what I mean? They're like, what is this what is this savage, this Australian savage drinking out of his shoe? Do you know what I mean? I would love to see their fucking reaction. I'm not saying I want him to win, but just that alone now would be something to see.
It would be. It absolutely would. I've always wanted to do a shoey with Tai.
I've never wanted to.
Remember we did him here?
Did we? Oh shit, we did. I forgot about that.
Didn't Harrington have like the dirty? Yeah, maybe. Didn't Harrington have like the dirtiest, grungiest shoe he could find?
100%.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but
we all did shoeys.
It was water, so I felt like I had to balance it out.
We should pull that clip for the week of the fight.
I will.
Did you spit in it, Harrington?
You can't not spit. If you don't spit, it's not a shoey.
Right. That's the grossest part, and it's like when everyone all spits in it. Do you know the whole team?
I don't know if I'd let other people spit in it. That's weird.
It's just gross. Are you comfortable making a pick, Anthony?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna, for all the reasons we just said, I'm gonna go Cyril Gane.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's just got more ways to win. Whether it's stay on the outside and just make it long and drawn out, or just use his physicality, push him up against the fence. He can, I'm sure he can. He's got the power to knock him out. He finished Derek Lewis. I think Ty's only got one way to win, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, he's got to try and turn it into a brawl. You can't have a technical fight with Cyril Gane. He'll get beat. If he turns it into a brawl, he's got a really, really good chance. And he's getting better all the time. He certainly has improved. As I say, 5 in a row now, all by stoppage, I believe. Training out in Dubai. I'm not sure what team he's with or anything out there.
Yeah, he's growing quickly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He seems to be doing the right thing because he's getting better. And you know what I fucking loved last time? When he fought Derek Lewis and he was just he was in a bad spot. He was on the deck. I think he was in turtle position and Derek was teeing off monster shots. And he was like, nah, fuck this. I'm getting up. I'm not going out like this. And he just fought his way back to his feet and then face planted him with a massive elbow. Poor old Derek Lewis. Poor fucking Derek Lewis. He can't win in his home state.
He can't. He's got to stop fighting in Texas. He's got to stop that shit. He doesn't do well in Texas.
You mentioned Dominic Cruz before. Has anyone heard from Dominic Cruz? Has he spoken out? Has he made any statements or anything?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I haven't seen anything, at least.
I hope he's doing all right. Doing all right. It's never easy. That we're just talking about Derek Lewis getting knocked out when you're at home. Cruz is a legend of the sport and a legend of mixed martial arts in San Diego. He's one of the main guys that's flown the flag for San Diego for so long as well. And then they have an event there and then that happens. Poor guy. Co-main event though. What a fucking fight that is.
Yeah, that's huge. Robert Whittaker, he's I don't know. He's typically his media is very, what's the word I'm looking for here without sounding
boring,
bland. Yeah.
Very. He's just so chill.
Yeah, he just doesn't give a shit. He wants to fight, and I think all the other shit he isn't too worried about. But he's been talking a lot about, for some reason, he's talking a lot about going to 205. So he doesn't. He's not a big 85er. So
he fought 170 for a long time.
Forever, yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was a little bit weird. He keeps talking about that, which, whatever. I love the fight though, but I think that Marvin Vettori doesn't get enough credit for
No.
for how good he is. I mean, he's only got one loss, or at least losses. He's got 2 losses to one person in his UFC career, and it's Israel Adesanya in both fights. First one, arguably, he
No,
won.
I think he lost a shoe face as well.
Did he lose his shoe face?
Yeah, a long time ago though. So it's been a while.
Okay,
Since
so
then,
recently.
the only Adesanya's beaten twice. Shoeface beat him. I think he outgrappled him a long time ago when he first signed with the UFC.
Oh well, and there's no shame in that. In his second UFC
Shoeface
fight.
in his second UFC fight. Thanks, Harrison.
So, but yeah, he is fucking good. He's really good. I mean, he shut down Costa. He's beaten everybody else, and he's beaten people kind of at their own games. Even the Jack Hermanson fight, like out grappled Jack Hermanson, which I thought was phenomenal and hard to do. I mean, that's the same guy that out grappled Jacare. So
yeah.
I think Robert Whittaker. I think a lot of people are kind of just looking over Vettori, like, oh, okay, well, Whittaker's always going to win against anybody in the division if it's not Israel Adesanya, and I don't think it's that simple this weekend. I think Robert Whittaker's got a little bit of an uphill battle, to be fair.
Yeah, well, no, it's definitely a tough fight, and I agree with everything you said. I do enjoy Robert, his approach, because he's not trying to, create scandal. He's not trying to, he does his talking in the octagon, simple as that, and he's got this laid back sense of humor, which I kind of enjoy. So I'm a fan of Robert. I'm a fan of Marvin. May the best man win. But it is it's a phenomenal fight. First of all. It's an incredible fight. And I think they're ranked, 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 in the division, right? And both of them have lost to Israel Adesanya twice. So the reality here is that regardless of whoever wins, you're not getting a third fight with Izzy just yet, right? Robert, it was his last fight. Marvin, it was 2 fights ago. Last one was Costa, then it was Izzy. So they're not going to get a shot anytime soon. But that's why I respect the hell out of both of them for taking this fight. And that's why the UFC, because there's less politics and there's less promotions and less belts and less politics basically involved, the best fight the best. Because in boxing, this fight would not be happening. They'd say, well, we just both lost to the fucking champ. Why am I going to go fight the number 1 contender right now? Because if I beat him, I don't get rewarded. Oh shit, Siri just fucking talking to me. I shit my pants. Shut up. On it. No, you're not. What was I saying? Yeah, they're not going to get rewarded of a title fight, but it's such a risky fight. Do you know what I mean?
There's no reason to be fighting each other. That's
honest. What I'm saying. That's why I respect them so much for taking the fight, because it's such a hard fight for both men. I mean, Vettori is a monster. Right? I don't know if you were there when he fought Paulo Costa. I was on the call. Fucking hell, man. Some of those kicks that Costa hit him with, and some of the punches as well, we know he hits hard. And Vettori just ate them all. Didn't take a backward step. Do you know what I mean? And obviously did a lot of his own work. He won the fight fair and square. It was a tremendous back and forth affair. Costa shows up, changes the weight class to 205, doesn't bat an eyelid, doesn't bitch. He said, no, I've come here to fight. I've done all this training, so fuck it. We're going to do it at 205. We'll do it at 205. It's that kind of attitude, that you really have to admire and respect.
Well, those are the toughest guys to fight. The guys you can't shake or just even to get them to veer off their own game plan a little bit. I've always had a tremendous respect for Vettori. He always has made me a little bit nervous because he's kind of a loose cannon. He's got a hell of a temper. He's got a hell of a temper.
I mean, me and him had a little bit of friction back in the day, but I remember, nothing personal, but I remember, because I think, didn't he have a USADA issue?
He had something, yeah.
So I was, talking a bit of shit there, as I usually do. But then I remember it was when the pandemic first kicked in, and they went to Jacksonville, Florida, didn't they? Or you fought on it.
I was there.
And he was supposed to fight. I forget who it was now. He was supposed to fight
Kevin Holland?
Not Kevin Holland.
It wasn't Kevin Holland. Who was it? Someone. The fight got canceled, right? Like the
fight got canceled. And anyway, Vettori was fuming. The guy, who was it now? Oh, it's doing my head in.
He was going fucking ballistic in the lobby. I was
He was
there.
going fucking. I was there. He was
Yeah.
going fucking psychotic in the lobby, screaming. Cole Robertson, maybe it might have been him. I'm not sure. But yeah, he was. And I remember I just got out of bed. I hadn't, because there was no coffee making machine in the room. Don't you fucking hate that? So like,
Yeah.
you've either got a cold room service or you've got to go down and buy one. And I need my coffee in the morning before I start my day. You know, Rebecca brings and sticks it in my hand every day, very kindly of her. So I'm like, for fuck's sake. So I go downstairs. I'm trying to get my coffee. I'm half asleep, you know. And first of all, there's a line at the Starbucks. I'm like, oh, there's always a fucking line at Starbucks. Always. What is the obsession? And anyway, someone is screaming at the top of the voice, right? And I'm like, ooh, let's get involved there because, you know, I love a bit of action, love a bit of commotion. I want to see what's going on. And then I go over and I see it's Marvin Vettori, and I'm like, oh, fuck this. If he sees me, he's going to be coming after me as well. I'm half asleep. I can't be dealing with this right now.
Yeah, it was. I just looked it up. It was Carl Roberson. Because I remember it was a weight cut issue, I think.
Yeah.
Or he couldn't continue and they scrapped the fight, and then Carl was walking through the lobby or something, and then Carl was talking shit to Vettori, so he was like, you can fucking fight now, but you can't fight tomorrow. Like, he was going crazy.
He had a point though. And again, you know, if you're Vettori, I mean, has that ever happened to you? I was very lucky in my career that I never had anybody pull out on me last minute. I never had a fight fall apart.
No, never.
No.
Never.
No, never. I can only imagine how frustrating that is.
Yeah, it's got to be. And then if the dude says something smart ass to you, I probably go fucking ballistic too.
Yeah.
You have all that pent up rage. Like, you already cut weight. You did an entire training camp. You traveled. You spent all that money. You've been away from your family or whatever you've been doing.
2-month training camp.
And then you get there and you can't fight. Like, that's all you've been holding in all this shit. You've just been ready to explode. And in some cases,
you might not get paid, depending on the circumstances. You know, a lot of the time, I think most of the time, UFC, you get your show money. Well, number one, that's not enough. That's not what you went there for. But then I do believe there has been a few instances. I'm not sure the circumstances where that didn't even happen, but they reschedule the fight. You know, but it's like, but then you've got to cut fucking weight again. Do you know what I mean? You got to go through that whole process. You got to do another 3-4 weeks of training. You might have had a vacation.
Travel again. Right.
Yeah, you got to do all this shit. He said, no, I'm here now. I came here to fucking fight today, tonight, tomorrow.
Grab a bum off the streets. The fucking guy across the street will do it. Fucking bring him in here.
Yeah. It's a tough fight for both men. It is. It's a very even fight, I believe. Robert's got faster feet, better movement, I think, because he darts in and out very well. Obviously, they both got great hands, great kicks, decent wrestling. Robert's probably got an advantage in the wrestling, but I don't think we're going to see too much of that. Of course, he was doing that against Izzy because that's the way you try to beat it. You know, I think we're going to see a good old-fashioned slugfest. That is, I can't make a prediction, but I will predict this. That will be fight of the night. I don't see how it can't be. I think Vettori's going to be super fired up because obviously he's Italian. So there's going to be a massive contingency there. There's going to be a lot of Italians in the building. It's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be a proper international crowd there. It's going to be awesome. I don't know how big the arena is, but I'm assuming it's big.
Oh, I would imagine so. I'm excited just to get there and see it. I don't know if I need to do some more film study. I don't know if I had to make a pick right now, I probably would pick Vettori because I think Marvin Vettori is more willing to get dirty right now than Robert Whittaker is. I don't want to say he's had chin issues, but he's been caught. He's been knocked out by Izzy recently. Izzy hurt him real bad in that second fight. He's been in a lot of wars, the Romero fight, a lot of wars. Yeah. A lot of wars. And eventually you get sick of that shit. Like,
you get sick of that shit and eventually it does catch up with you. I'm not saying that it has.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm not saying that is damaged goods, but you're right though, and it's those kind of fights, they do take a toll on your career and take a toll on your mentality as well. So every time you fucking step in there, I mean, that's what you got to love about Robert Whittaker. I mean, those fights that he had with Romero, absolute goddamn wars. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's such a warrior. He embodies all.
Some people wouldn't come back from those, and those were wins. Some people like. I've seen this. I don't know if the UFC put it out or if Robert put it out. It was a little clip of him doing a podcast after the Romero fights. And he was saying every injury I had in that fight was from me hitting him, because Romero was like built out of stone. He was like, my broken feet and broken hands and my shins were fucked up and my knees hurt and my elbows, like, and it was like, then it was showing clips of little clips of the fight. And it was like, it kind of seemed like that. Like he was just kept running into a brick wall every single time. And he took like a year out every single time.
It's crazy. It's crazy because he just brought me back, like that feeling after a fight, because people don't know unless they do it, and not a lot of people do high level mixed martial arts. A lot of people don't get to experience that, but you're right. When you're throwing kicks at one another and you're punching, of course, you don't have to be a genius to figure out that it hurts, but you're right, when you're clashing shins and all that, so it's just the feeling, your body's just aching head to toe, and your legs are killing and your ankles are killing and your toes are killing, your shins and your hands and your wrist and your knuckles,
walking all gingerly around the house for 2 weeks, and like you bump the bed and you're like, you're fucking screaming. Oh, it sucks.
I was going to say, I'll be honest, I don't miss that. But to be fair, that's how I walk about these days anyway. I'm damaged goods. I'm walking into walls all over the place because I've only got one fucking eye. Often walk into lampposts and shit like that when I don't see him, the bastard. Go on, who's your pick? I'll put you on the spot.
I'm going to go Vettori.
Yeah.
It really, right, just as of right now, solely based on kind of his mindset. I just think he's more willing to get in the shit. And I think it'll be a lot of Whitaker trying to avoid some nasty firefights, and because Vettori, that's all he wants to do. So he's young. He's been in a couple real tough fights, but hasn't taken a shit ton of damage. He is very fundamental, but he's still young, and I see a lot of myself in Marvin Vettori as far as his mentality. He does not give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna take 5 to give 1. I don't give a fuck. As I get a little older, I'm like, I'd rather take 0 to give 3. I see a lot of that mentality.
He doesn't give a fuck. He's a proper fighter. So is Robert Whitaker as well. That's why I'm calling it to be such a great fight. And I've got to know Marvin a little bit as well. Obviously we both live in Orange County, so we have I think I said this one time. We have there's a restaurant that he goes to that I know the owner, Dominico. Shout out Dominico. Great fucking restaurant. Quattro in South Coast Plaza. If you're ever there in Santa Ana, you need to check it out, people, because it's delicious. And I've sat down with him a few times, had a few drinks. Christmas Eve, we all had ended up having dinner at the same table together and stuff. Great fucking guy. He really is. So I wish him all the best.